So just to clarify what Todd thinks I'm going to talk about, Shmuel and Sharon asked me if I would share my experience of being involved in the founding of JCDS kind of as an example of turning values into action. So I'm actually just going to share that experience, the history of JCDS, the Jewish Community Day School of Greater Boston. So please bear with me. I am going to speak much faster than my friend and colleague Manette because in order to meet the guidelines of the time. So we've been exploring turning values into action, and so that's why I want to share the experience of being among the founders of a new Jewish day school 23 years ago. The Jewish Community Day School of Greater Boston, JCDS, was founded as a result of visioning exercises, conversations for possibilities among day school parents. I was among the organizers who sought to transform a situation from one in which parents were in a complaint mode to one in which they felt empowered to create a new reality. In essence, we began with the artifacts. We actually were reacting in some ways to what we didn't want, and then flipping the lens from complaints to visions. In fact, at an early convening, we set the rules. Everyone would have 2 uninterrupted minutes to speak. Each speaker was allowed a maximum of 30 seconds for complaints. The rest of the time had to be spent describing what they ideally wanted to see. We recorded everything we heard. We clarified with the speaker what we had captured, whether it was the essence of what was said. We asked everyone to truly listen to each other and get a sense of the varying perspectives in the room. It was a long night. There were over 100 people in the room, all wanting their 2 minutes. A group of us collected all of these thoughts and dreams and looked for prevalent themes that resonated with us and themes that emerged that were compelling, whether we had considered them before or not. Then we began to explore our vision of the kind of school that would bring these dreams to life, to potentially avoid the same issues. What kind of structure would the school need to have? What kind of school community and culture would we build so that the things that weren't working would not bubble up in the parking lot or behind closed doors, but rather would be surfaced to be addressed for the good of the community? What would we do differently? And equally as important, what would we preserve? After many months, the 7 of us who ultimately became the founding board were left with the dilemma of either starting a school or abandoning what had become a palpable vision. Then, in the spring of 1995, we met and decided it was enough talk. It was time to take action. 6 months later, JCDS, Beit Sefer Yehudi Kehilati, was founded with 11 children ranging from ages 5 to 10 in 2 multi-age groups. Organically, our conversation focused on the espoused values, while at the same time beginning in long discussions that lasted well into the night to delve into underlying assumptions. We spent days and weeks talking among ourselves and pursuing conversations with as many people as we could tap into to uncover the underlying assumptions and make them explicit, move them from the unconscious to the conscious in order to increase our intentionality. The vision began to take form. We identified our shared values, and the values we imagined would become the values of the school community we're embarking on creating. We adopted the tagline, "A child is not a vessel to be filled. A child is a flame to be kindled." We shared the belief that throughout our lives, the decisions we make are based on a combination of knowledge and experience. Using Jewish camp as our model, we set out to imbue the school with powerful, meaningful, and impactful Jewish experiences, joyous ones. We wanted this same ethos to pervade our school community. We believe that the world is the classroom and that the first step to learning is engagement. We wanted to demonstrate and role model and create an environment filled with compassion and empathy. We knew, and still know, that the teachers are key to the whole endeavor, and that investment in our teachers, enabling and empowering teachers to find their voices and share their passion, would only serve to inspire our children. We felt compelled to be in a constant pursuit of excellence, to be reflective, honest, and transparent, always with a growth mindset and a frame of mind that focused on what we could learn from mistakes and successes. We were aware of how important it was to avoid breathing our own exhaust and to practice and live the value of anava, humility. At one point, looking around the room, we noticed that among the 7 of us, we came from diverse religious backgrounds, and yet we were experiencing an amazing degree of alignment at every turn. This became the foundation for intentional pluralism and for striving to come together as the people of the book in serious and joyous text-based learning. Our experience reinforced the importance of mutual respect and active listening as we work to make our vision a reality. All of us had a strong facility in and a love for Hebrew language and expressed deep feelings of connection to Israel, all of which we wanted to pass on and share with our children. Creating a Hebrew-English dual language, dual culture environment was a priority, such so that the school went on to become a national model for Hebrew teaching and learning. From the beginning was the understanding that as a Jewish communal institution, we don't just serve the families, students, and staff that are directly involved and part of JCDS, but that we must be part of and give to our community, contribute to strengthening the Jewish people. In fact, we talked explicitly about sharing our learnings in order to contribute to the field of Jewish education. When considering years later whether to change the name of the school, it became clear the name captured the essence of our school, the Jewish Community Day School. Community is our middle name and remains an essential value, a value that we are constantly engaged in unpacking and making visible. As we undertook to design and hold our first events with the goal of both friend and fundraising, we knew that we would have to reflect what the school stands for. 19 years ago, we came up with our signature event. First called Food for Thought and now known as Matters of Taste, it was designed to reflect all that we stand for. An evening that begins with a gathering that showcases the students' work and then breaks off into intimate dinners, each with a different presenter, originally hosted in different homes with different cuisines and different levels of kashrut. The event, which we have since shared with many other schools and Jewish nonprofits, highlights what it means to be an intimate learning community, to gather, of course over food, and learn from members of our community with varying expertise, to develop new connections based on shared interests, and to enjoy the Hamish hospitality of members of our community who open their homes. We celebrate community. We celebrate our diversity. We celebrate learning and celebrate the children. We brought the same level of intentionality and symbolic thinking to the design of the students' graduation from 8th grade. Our goal was to create an opportunity for reflection, self-expression, and gratitude, while demonstrating what Ben Zoma says, a zohu chacham halomed mikol, that we are all learners, we are all teachers. We want every student to experience and every family member to realize that each student is seen and known. Graduation was designed with 2 parts. The first begins at the start of the 8th grade, centered on a question. The students are asked to think about the gifts they have received from their time at JCDS, and what have they given, and what do they want to give back to JCDS. They can ask any staff member to be part of their advisory team. They spend much of the year reflecting on these questions and developing their individual projects, which they will present the day before graduation to their invited friends, family, and the school. The experience brings many of us to tears as the students find their own voices and with thoughtfulness, individual creativity, and vulnerability, they share their culminating projects. Then at graduation, different staff members each choose a student about whom they want to speak, poignantly capturing the student's unique specialness, the ways the student has contributed to the whole, and the visions of the possibilities in the student's future, displaying the depth of appreciation the school has developed for each and every student. These moments are just snapshots of what it can look like when a community is created based on shared values and undertakes to live those values, making them visible and palpable. While most of you are looking at these components through the lens of an existing institution or school and thinking about changes that will strengthen your organizations, my story begins with the opportunity to create a new institution from scratch. However, many of the same conditions that are conducive to creating something new are the conditions that are needed to usher in and embed change within an existing organization. I'll close by sharing my version of the 8 considerations for culture change as captured in the work of Trice and Beyer. Capitalize on propitious moments. Combine caution with optimism. Create an optimistic outlook on what the change effort will bring. Attend to the needs of the individual and the group. Serve all the constituents in a balanced way. Think expansively about who those constituents are. Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Innovation for innovation's sake is not really what we're about. Don't underestimate the importance of intentional implementation. Do what you say and say what you do. Select, modify, and create appropriate cultural forms. So, like embedding Hebrew as a language of use in the school, or like matters of taste, where your events reflect who you are. Set certain cultural norms and find, cultivate innovative, confident, and inspiring leadership. We sit here all challenged to think about how to imbue our institutions with values and how to turn those values into actions. Having just celebrated the 70th year of the State of Israel, I can think of no more powerful example in the modern world than the miracle of taking a vision guided by faith and values and turning it into a reality. If Eretz Yisrael could become Medinat Yisrael, this should be an inspiration for us all as to what we can accomplish. Im tirtzu, ein zu agada. Toda.